Hello, dear listeners. Settle in, unwind, and let the ordinary fade away. Tonight, we have a tale that will linger in your thoughts long after it ends. So get cozy, take a deep breath, and remember, the creak in the floorboards isn't just your imagination. Let's begin. Some girls find solace in coffee shops, libraries, or curled up in cozy rooms with scented candles and playlists filled with heartbreak. Me? I crave the damp scent of pine needles, the whisper of leaves in the wind, and the endless chores of crickets and owls that sing as darkness falls. I was never scared of the forest, not until that night. It started like any other. I just finished my final class for the week and packed my old beaten rucksack with the essentials: torch, sketchbook, a flask of strong black tea, and a wrap sandwich. I slipped into my worn hiking boots, zipped up my hoodie, and set out for Holopine, a dense patch of ancient woodland tucked behind our village, almost forgotten by time. As I walked, twilight stretched across the horizon like spilled ink. The trees loomed tall and patient, guardians of secrets older than any of us. My boots crunched on leaves brittle from the coming autumn, and the wind played with my hair, whispering nonsense like a teasing friend. I smiled to myself, settling into that familiar rhythm: step, crunch, breath. It was peace, real peace. I knew every turn of that forest, every oddly twisted root and moss-covered rock. I'd even named a few spots over the years: Fox Hollow, where I once spotted a red-tailed vixen, and Moss Throne, a boulder draped in green where I like to sit and sketch. That night, I chose to climb a little further into the forest than usual. I don't know why. Maybe I was just restless. Maybe something pulled me. By the time I reached the old birch clearing, the moon had broken through the clouds, silvering everything with an eerie glow. I dropped my rucksack near the base of the tree and sat on the damp earth, pulling out my sketchbook. The light was perfect for drawing shadows, for catching that wild, untamed feeling of the woods that I loved. As I scribbled, the usual night sounds lulled me: rustling leaves, distant hoots, the occasional snap of a twig. Normal, natural, and safe. Then I heard it. A howl. A long, low, guttural. Not close, but not nearly far enough. It didn't sound like any wolf or fox I'd ever heard, and I'd heard plenty. This one was wrong. There was something in it that didn't belong in this world. A bitterness and a rage. I froze, literally froze. My pencil slipped from my fingers, and my breath caught in my throat. My eyes locked onto the dark stretch of trees in the direction the sound had come from, but nothing moved. Even the wind seemed to hush, and the crickets had stopped. The forest held its breath. I sat there, staring, not blinking, my heart thundering like a drum in my chest. Then, a second howl. Closer. I don't remember standing up. My body acted on instinct, and my hands grabbed my torch and rucksack, and I backed away from the clearing. Heart thudding and my breath shallow. The moment I turned, I felt it. Not heard it, not saw it, just felt it. Something was watching me. I broke into a run. I didn't care that I was going off trail. I didn't care that my boots slipped on wet leaves or that branches scratched my arms. I just ran. But the forest, my forest, felt different. The trees seemed closer together, the shadows deeper. My torch flickered, casting long dancing shapes that twisted into things I didn't want to name. And that feeling, being watched, only grew stronger. Whatever it was following me. No, not following, hunting. Every few minutes, I'd hear another howl, each time closer. Sometimes from the left, then suddenly from the right. It was like it was circling me, toying with me. I tried calling for help, but my voice was swallowed by the trees. My phone? Useless. No signal, of course. I had one thought: get out. Just get out. But the woods kept pulling me deeper. That's when I saw the cabin. I'd never seen it before, not in all my years of exploring Hollow Pine. It was crooked and leaning, tucked between two old pines, like it was trying to hide. The door was half off its hinges, and the windows were covered with thick grime. It looked abandoned, unsafe, a death trap. But I had no choice. I bolted inside, slamming the door shut, and shoved a broken chair under the handle. My chest heaved and my legs trembled. I slid to the floor, trying to steady my breath, trying to think. It was only then I realized how quiet it had become. Dead quiet. Not a single sound outside. No footsteps, no growl, no breathing. I almost laughed, a bitter, nervous little sound. Maybe it was gone. Maybe I'd imagined the whole thing, conjured it from some horror flick tucked into the back of my mind. Then I heard the knock. 1, 2, 3. Slow, deliberate, from the window. I turned, my heart in my throat, and there, eyes, red, glowing, inhuman, staring straight at me through the grime, and then it smiled. Its mouth stretched wide, impossibly wide, filled with jagged teeth. The window shattered and I screamed. Then everything went black. I woke to moonlight, cold, alone, and back in the clearing. My rucksack sat neatly by the birch tree, and my sketchbook open to a page I didn't draw. A figure, tall, shadowed, with red eyes and a grin that cut through the page like a blade. I'm still not sure how I got out of the forest, but some nights I hear the growl again, closer, always closer, and I know I left something behind in those woods. Or maybe, just maybe, something left with me. It's been 3 weeks since that night. I haven't spoken to anyone about what happened. What would I even say? That I heard something in the woods? That I saw glowing red eyes and a mouthful of teeth that didn't belong in any animal I'd ever read about? That it smiled at me before shattering glass and sending me into unconsciousness? No one would believe me, but something has changed. At first, it was just small things. I'd wake up in the middle of the night. Sure, I'd heard scratching. Not mice or insects. Deep, heavy, like claws across the outside of the wall. My bedroom window, latched every night, would be open in the morning, and the curtains billowing. The scent of pine clinging to the air. And then there was the sketchbook. I left it on my desk after that night, telling myself I didn't want to see that drawing again. But the next morning, a new page had been filled in, not drawn by me. The same figure, taller, closer, and the grin wider. Each day since, a new page appears. I tried hiding the book, then burning it, but it always comes back, always on my desk, and always waiting, like it wants me to remember, like it wants me to go back. It sounds insane, but sometimes when I close my eyes, I can feel the forest calling me, not in words, but in feelings. It starts with the scent, damp moss, bark, and wild mushrooms. Then the sounds, the creak of swaying trees, the rustle of leaves, and that distant howl. It's worse at night. I lie in my bed, frozen, staring at the ceiling as the pull grows stronger. It doesn't want to hurt me, not yet. I think it's waiting for something. Last weekend, I returned. I don't know why. Maybe to prove to myself it wasn't real. Maybe because part of me wanted answers. I waited until late afternoon, packed only a torch and a sketchbook, and made my way back to Hollow Pine. The forest looked the same, but it felt different. It was like the trees had shifted. The paths were twisted, moss hung heavier on the branches, and the silence, it wasn't peaceful anymore. It was watching me. I walked until I found the clearing. It was untouched. No broken branches, no sign of the shattered cabin window, as if it had never happened. Then I heard the footsteps, slow and deliberate. I turned, expecting some hiker, maybe an old hunter. It was a boy, maybe 17, pale and thin, dressed in clothes decades too old. His eyes were wide and hollow, filled with something that chilled me deeper than the cold air. "You heard it too, didn't you?" he asked. His voice was hoarse, like he hadn't spoken in years. I nodded, too afraid to lie. He stepped closer, trembling. "It doesn't let you go. Not once you hear the first howl, not once it knows your name." My mouth went dry. "What is it?" He looked behind me and his voice dropped to a whisper. "Run!" I didn't need to be told twice. I spun around and bolted, but the forest, it didn't let me run far. The trees shifted again. Paths twisted and roots tripped me. The air grew colder, and then that howl. So close I could feel it in my bones. It paralyzed me, my feet locked in place and my breath frozen in my lungs. Behind me something was coming. I could hear it, snapping branches and low growls. Then silence. I turned. Nothing. No boy, no beast, just a forest, dark and quiet. But when I looked down, the sketchbook had fallen from my bag, open, a fresh drawing. Me, standing exactly where I was, with something tall and shadowed, grinning just behind me. I haven't gone back since, but it doesn't matter. I see it everywhere, reflected in windows, in puddles, in my dreams. It's always smiling and always closer. And last night, I woke up with dirt under my nails, pine needles in my bed, and a single word written across my mirror in something that looked like charcoal. Soon. I hope you enjoyed this story. Thank you so much for listening. If you do have any comments, leave them down below, and until the next time, have a good evening. Wherever you are in the world, take care.